And now a word about our sponsor, World of Tanks. I think you'll agree that there's nothing more enjoyable than a spot of armoured mayhem. So if, like me, enjoyment and realism are both requirements, World of Tanks doesn't disappoint. Play World of Tanks, the game that puts you behind the big guns and at the centre of the armoured action. World of Tanks is a free-to-play game, giving you control over the tanks of 11 different nations. Register today and receive a T-127 tank, 500 gold and 7 days premium. Ready for action? Then report for duty through the invite link in the description using the invitation code TANKTASTIC. This code is only for new players who register for the first time on the Wargaming portal. World of Tanks, the game for all lovers of tanks and armoured warfare. Register today. See the description box for more details. Soviet leader Joseph Stalin was at his desk in the Kremlin one day in 1943, reading reports and dealing with correspondence. A letter was marked for his attention. It was from a war widow whose husband had died fighting the Germans in 1941. It read, "My husband was killed in action defending the motherland. I want revenge on the fascist dogs for his death and for the death of Soviet people tortured by the fascist barbarians. For this purpose, I have deposited all my personal savings, 50,000 rubles, to the National Bank in order to build a tank. I kindly ask to name the tank Fighting Girlfriend and to send me to the front line as a driver of said tank." It was signed Maria Oktyabrskaya. Stalin thought for a moment before approving the request. It was a propaganda coup. Passed to the State Defense Committee for action, more details emerged of its enigmatic, though determined sender. Maria had been born into a poor peasant family in the Crimea in 1905, during the Tsarist period. Her family was serfs, basically property of aristocratic landowners. She had benefited from the revolution, along with many other low-born women who were able to receive education and take meaningful employment. In 1925, she had married an army officer. The couple had changed their surname to Oktyabrskaya in honor of the October Revolution. Such was their devotion to the Soviet Union. Maria considered that being an army officer's wife was a career in itself, and though she trained as an army nurse, her husband introduced her to firearms and driving military vehicles. However, when the Germans invaded the Soviet Union in June 1941, Maria was evacuated to Tomsk in Siberia while her husband went to fight, and that was the last Maria heard of her beloved husband until in 1943 she was informed that he had been killed near Kiev in August 1941. Furious and swearing revenge, Maria had made her extraordinary offer to Stalin. And incredibly, Stalin had written back, "Thank you, Maria Vasilievna, for your concern for the armoured forces of the Red Army. Your wish will be granted. Please accept my regards, Joseph Stalin." The State Defense Committee agreed to Maria's request in order to milk positive propaganda from it. She and her tank would become emblematic of the avenging Soviet woman. But propaganda aside, could 50,000 rubles buy a T-34-76 in 1943? The answer is no. They cost around 130,000 rubles, but this was waived by the authorities. Fighting Girlfriend was a T-34-76 with the more spacious 1942 hexagonal turret nicknamed the Mickey Mouse by the Germans because when the two turret hatches were open it resembled the Disney character from a distance. The T-34 was an immensely successful medium tank first introduced into Soviet service in 1940. Its use of sloped armor was revolutionary, and the Soviets would eventually produce some 80,000 examples. When the Germans first encountered the T-34 in the summer of 1941, they were both shocked and impressed. Unlike the slow and unwieldy French Char-B tanks that they had fought in the West, the T-34 was mobile and fast, and the famous sloped armor caused German 37 and 50mm anti-tank shells to ricochet off. Only the dreaded 88mm anti-tank gun could take out a T-34 from the front. Conversely, the T-34's 76mm gun could destroy any of the early German panzers. Its wide tracks and hull gave it great traction in the often muddy or icy conditions found on the Russian front. The Germans developed the Panther and the Tiger to counter it. Maria would not be the first woman tank driver in the Red Army. A few had been serving since the Winter War with Finland in 1939-40, but they were novelties. At the time of her enrollment into the Red Army, Maria was 37 years old enough to be the mother of male crewmen. She was sent for 5 months of training. Evidently the state intended that as well as being a propaganda tool, Maria would also be a useful soldier who could actually contribute something to the war effort. At the conclusion of her training in September 1943, she was assigned to the prestigious 26th Guards Tank Brigade, part of the 2nd Guards Tank Corps, as a driver mechanic. The other members of the crew were all men: the tank commander, Junior Lieutenant Peter Chapotko, turret gunner, Sergeant Gennady Yasko, and radio operator gunner Mikhail Galin. The reaction of male soldiers to the arrival of a now 38-year-old female driver in a T-34 emblazoned with the name Fighting Girlfriend is not hard to imagine. They thought it was a propaganda stunt. However, Maria showed herself to be fearless in combat. The 21st of October 1943, she went into action, Fighting Girlfriend carrying the brigade's second-in-command as an observer. Maria's tank breached the German position first, and in hectic combat, Maria and her male crew knocked out several German artillery guns and machine gun positions, earning her the grudging respect of the rest of the brigade. On the 17th to 18th of November 1943, Maria's tank fought in a night action the town of Novoye Selo in the Vitebsk region. One of Fighting Girlfriend's tracks was damaged by German shell fire, and Maria, as the vehicle's trained mechanic, climbed out with a crewman under fire to effect a repair, getting the vehicle underway again. For her courage and devotion to duty, she was promoted to the rank of sergeant. On the 17th of January 1944, Fighting Girlfriend took part in another night attack as part of the Leningrad-Novgorod offensive. At the small village of Zvedi, near Vitebsk, Maria did good work destroying German trenches and machine gun nests. During this action, Maria's tank knocked out a German self-propelled gun. Shortly afterwards, the T-34 was hit by an anti-tank round, breaking a track. 2 of the crewmen jumped out to make repairs under fire. Maria was ordered to stay in the tank, but disobeyed and clambered out to help the others. Unfortunately, a German shell landed close by, and Maria was struck in the head by shrapnel. Badly injured in the eye and the brain, surgeons operated. On the 16th of February 1944, all of Maria's tank crew came to visit her in hospital, along with the Chief Commissar, the 26th Guards Tank Brigade. She was presented with the Order of the Patriotic War First Class. She remained in very poor health in hospital, unable to remember what had happened and suffering severe headaches, fevers and delirium, until falling into a coma and dying at dawn on the 15th of March 1944. She was buried in the Smolensk Kremlin in the Kutuzovsky Cemetery. Guards Senior Sergeant Oktoberskaya was posthumously made a hero of the Soviet Union on the 2nd of August 1944. The first female tank crew to be so honored. The name Fighting Girlfriend lived on beyond Maria's death. It was transferred to another T-34 when the original one was destroyed in action. Then another and another, until in May 1945, the 4th tank to bear this name, a T-34-85, was photographed outside the Reichstag in Soviet-occupied Berlin. Don't forget to visit my new audiobook channel, War Stories with Mark Felton, link in the description box below. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share. You can also help support my channels at PayPal and Patreon, details in the description box.